So let's talk about AI briefly. We're recording this in June of 2025. In July of 2025, it'll probably be out of date, this part of our conversation,
Yeah, which
given
is
how
in two
fast.
days,
What's
3 days,
that?
which is in
Exactly.
3 days.
Exactly. Given how fast things are moving, if it's been a real whirlwind since like November 2022 when GPT-3 burst on the scene. And let's start with, what are you seeing? Marketing is one of those areas that is potentially exposed to disruption from AI. I'm sure you're seeing it already. Let's start with, where are you seeing it used and how are you seeing it used? Do you see it as an accelerant or do you see it as a replacement? How do you think about that?
I do not see it as a replacement. I think AI in my world, and I've heard this in lots of different places, it's really about augmented intelligence as opposed to artificial intelligence. At the end of the day, we are humans, we're connecting with humans, we're relating to humans. And so the role that AI is playing for us right now, and this is kind of where we're comfortable at the moment, is it's helping us get to a really strong starting point much quicker. And then that's when we come in as humans who understand the business, the culture, the objective, and it in a way that maybe AI would miss. And if we weren't doing that, then every other firm out there in the world would be putting out the exact same content that we are. I mean, I know it's only as good as you brief in, and the more specific you are with briefing things in, the more tailored the response is. But I still really feel like there is that layer of real, true human that is important in the mix. Now, is AI helping us develop creative quicker? 100%. Is it helping us give us a baseline in terms of some more content and refined messaging? 100%. But it's only taking us to a certain level, and then the team will come in and bring in the augmentation. The area I think AI is also helping us is just around efficiencies and process. There's a ton in terms of meeting objectives, coming out of those meetings, accountabilities, follow-ups. It's helping us get much faster at what we're doing and more targeted. I don't think it's replacing us, and I would be very sad if it did, but it certainly is helping. And there's a lot that we can do that just will make us get quicker, more on point, more compelling in what we do create.
In some ways, it lets you get more done too.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing that we've got to be careful about is it's not always about more. Often it's about better, because there's so much noise in the system already. And if you're just pumping more and more and more out there, you're just adding more to the mix. So it's about creating the right content and delivering it with the right creative and the right message through the right channel, targeting the right audience at the right time. Otherwise, it's just noise.
I also liked what you said about it's getting you to the starting point faster. That's, I think, a really interesting way and a smart way to look at AI.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's naive. I know that there's a ton that AI can do that I'm not even aware of. And so it's a learning curve for me coming later in my career and being faced with a lot of people who are coming in and have vast knowledge in AI that I can't even scratch the surface on. And again, that's when I rely on bringing in the right talent to bring the information to me, and collectively we can make the right decision on behalf of the business.
It would seem to me that, and I've just started having these conversations in the podcast, it would seem to me that we're either at or rapidly approaching the point where someone coming in has to have these skills, right? It used to be, if you can do some coding, wow, that's really cool. That's a real nice feature. Now it would seem to me that, if you don't have basic facility with figuring out how to generate good prompts using, certain AI tools, thinking about how can I take advantage of AI tools that are coming down the pipe, you're probably at a competitive disadvantage.
100%. And I think it's the prompts and it's the briefs that you put in to whatever you're asking to be created, but it's also the operational systems that we're using to keep ourselves organized. So Copilot, at the end of every meeting, you've got your meeting notes, you've got the actions, the accountabilities quickly coming out of that. So if you don't understand that universe, your role around the table is all behind the curve on that one. So I think even from an operational perspective, not just from a creation perspective, it's a really important tool that we all have to be aware of.
Let's talk briefly about data. Over time, I think that there can be a perception that, I'm a creative, I don't need to know any of this math or analytics. I was told there'd be no math involved. And so is that true, or is that maybe was true or not anymore? What are your thoughts on that?
You'd have to go far back in time for it not to be true. Like even in the earliest stages of my career, I spent 20 years with Kantar. It is a brand building agency, and everything was all about data and what does that data tell me and the insights and how do I use that information to improve the creative, whether it's a commercial that's being developed or the brand or if I'm going out with a certain messaging, is this going to resonate with my audience? And so all of that is really coming from the data, that is answered through the audience you're trying to reach. So it is super, super important. It gives you the confidence that you're putting the right energy and resource in the right place. It's reaching the audience that you're trying to influence. At the front end and at the back end, it allows you to understand, was I successful? And if I wasn't, where did I miss the mark? And how do I improve that moving forward? So I think it plays such an important role. And I think it's a real gift because it's helping marketing demonstrate the accountability and the value and the ROI that we're contributing towards business. So if you look at the way we present ourselves in market, if we can look at the engagement we have with our audience, whether it's through a website, social media, the engagement is kind of a data figure. If you look at the analytics around websites and heat mapping, what content are people gravitating to? What are they not? Let's not continue to build out content in this area if we know everybody's going to this area. SEO, search engine optimization, is all based on data. Am I using the right words, the right language that people are searching for so that my content can be found? So it cuts through on so many different levels of what we're doing in the marketing world. I mean, in any part of the business, but it is equally important in marketing. And I will say, I was definitely not a math person in school and in university. And I don't think you have to be. It shouldn't be something that scares you. I think it's something that you can definitely learn, but it is really important.
And it helps. You don't necessarily have to be a math person, but you have to not be afraid of math, ideally. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, no, I was pretty afraid of math. I'm going to be honest. I was pretty afraid of math. But I think that you can demystify some of it. It's about putting the numbers in context, whether the number is 75 or 120 in relation to what. And I guess that's where the curiosity comes in as well, is, you can be presenting someone with a set of numbers. It's the questions that come off the back of it and the insights that you draw from it. The numbers, I think, can be simplified, and the learning, it's really kind of where you take that aspect of it that starts to become fascinating. And then the scariness of math goes away because it's just curious, it's interesting, it's insightful.